Only a player can appreciate the things you go through in a season, in a career. They give you enjoyment, give you laughs. You know, I mean, when I first came in, we're taking commercial flights, and commercial flights get canceled. You've got 2, 3, 4 hours in an airport. You got to fill the time somehow, and usually it's kind of a prank on somebody. Whether it's a teammate or some poor passerby, it doesn't matter.
Whenever you're delayed in airports, when you flew commercial, the boys had come up with some gimmicks and the old dollar bill on a piece of thread, and people go to pick it up and you pull it and everybody laughs, that one. But I remember one time this guy's running through the airport trying to catch a flight, obviously, and he's full going, and he flies by me, and I went, my wallet, stop that guy, he's got my wallet. Well, some big guy back there, you know, down the corridor a ways, and I'm screaming this, and he sees this guy running and me yelling, hey, he's got my wallet. And I just thought, you know, funny joke, the guy looks, well, this guy stepped into him and, I mean, laid him out, and the poor guy's on the floor in the middle of the airport, luggage all over, and I hope he made his flight. Oh. Okay, it was embarrassing because I went, oh my God, oh, I found it, it's right here. Yeah, it took off.
Who's a better prankster, you or Lindy Ruff?
Lindy, by far, the best. I mean, I think he dreams and sleeps on it all night long. He's had some of the funniest things with you know, as a teammate. There was always something going on. You always had to keep, you know, stay sharp.
Lindy's stuff is legendary. The stuff he would do, and his stuff would be what you would expect, and then he would do a right turn. I'll give you. One time, there was the dental floss trick where you'd tie $5 to a roll of dental floss in an airport and throw it on the floor, and you know, people would come off the planes and they'd go to grab it, and you'd pull it back out of the aisle, and of course all of us knew what was coming, and eventually the people that were sitting around us saw it, and we would all laugh at this poor guy or gal that was chasing the $5, and they'd get it too, and they'd walk away. So this would go on for a while, and it was always fun. Well, one day Lindy did it one better. He borrowed $5 from Tony McKegney, who was tighter than bark on a tree. Lindy finally, Lindy's doing the joke, we're all chuckling. Finally, Lindy just gets tired. He's had enough of it, so he lets the guy pick up the $5 and take it. Lindy could care less, because it wasn't his $5, and away he goes, and McKegney lost it. Chased the guy down, and I don't know if he ever got his $5 back. That wasn't the funny part of the joke. The funny part was Lindy just let the guy have it.
I remember Mark Napier came. It's a funny story. It was his first day with our team, and we're at Saberland, and we just showered, and Mark comes out, and he's trying to put his jeans on, and he can't find the zipper, and the zipper got stuck way down at the bottom of the pants, right? And so he's trying to find a zipper to pull up. He can't understand it. You know, his first day with the new team, and his zipper doesn't work. And so he's thinking, like, embarrassed a little bit because he's got pants that zipper doesn't work. And anyway, he's turned around trying to, you know, fiddle with it. And then we're all in the know, and we're all kind of, you know, undoing skates and kind of looking away and looking away. And then he turns the corner to go into the bathroom area to see what the hell's going on. And 20 guys pile in behind him, and there he is trying to fiddle with the bottom of the zipper, not knowing that Lindy had sewn it all the way down into the bottom, and he could never get it out. And so we died laughing. But just little things like that, you know, that kind of kept it light, but brought the team together.
I remember probably one of my favorites was when you and I roomed together in Philly, and you were reading a book. I had come to the room early. You didn't know I was in the room. There was a room behind the curtain, and so I'm standing behind the curtain. Larry's reading his book. He gets up and he goes into the bathroom. He leaves his book sitting on the bed. So I get out from behind the curtain. I take his book and I go back behind the curtain. And Larry comes and sits back in the bed. He lays down and he's looking. Now he's starting to mutter to himself, like, you know, where'd I put the book? And he's looking under the covers, under the pillow. And he walks back into the bathroom, and now he's shaking his head, and it's like, geez, what the hell did I do with the book? And he started walking towards the curtain, and I thought, geez, maybe he sees me. So, like, about a foot away, I go to jump out. Well, I scare the living heck out of him, and he, fortunate enough for me, he didn't throw any punches. But
did he ever have you be an accomplice to any of those pranks, or did you ever try to get Lindy with a good prank?
we always were an accomplice, and we always were the guy that every once in a while that he would target. So we were on the receiving end and on the giving end, and there was a lot of times, a lot of shoe shines, you know, taking the sour cream right underneath the buffet table where everybody walked by, and he wouldn't just get one guy, he got 20 guys, you know, so nobody knew who to blame. And then, you know, at the end of it, we're realizing, okay, the only guy not here is Lindy, and where the hell is he? He's under the buffet table.
There's a lot of funny stories and pranks, and one of the best stories I heard was the story in Lindy Ruff, who's still coaching the team, wasn't playing one night, and he went and switched all the keys on the keychains. And of course, you would fly in late that night. And rumor has it that they got in at like 1:30 in the morning, and it's cold in Buffalo, obviously. And everybody was going to their car, and they pulled out their car keys, and none of the keys worked. But there was one guy driving away with his lights on, and that was Lindy.
But by far my favorite story was when we played the exhibition game in Toronto, and we pulled a bus up to the Holiday Inn, and we're all on the bus, all the team, and Phil is missing, and Scotty up in front of the bus, kind of gruff, go, Mike Ramsey, go find Phil, because they were both from Minneapolis. So Mike goes to walk out of the bus, and just as he gets out, Phil's walking out of the hotel with his girlfriend. You know, like nobody had their girlfriend around training camp, but Phil, he was 18, he was, you know, I think just naive, and so Mike turns around and gets on the bus. Well, Phil keeps walking and gets on the bus with his girlfriend, and they walk like 8 rows back and sit down, and now the bus is just dying, you know, because and you can hear Scotty talking to Jimmy Robertson. Jimmy, go talk to him. And so back Jimmy came, and they had to tell him, you know, no girlfriends on the bus. I mean, he had a lot better playing moments. That's probably one of my favorite off-ice stories with Phil, though.
I got one.
I thought you might.
Well, actually a few, but one good one. Shoney always was was a prankster in the dressing room, trying to set most people up. So I think we won a pretty big game. He was in the shower, and I think he convinced. I'd already showered and got dressed. I think he told Donnie Edwards. He says, "Go tell Smitty I need to talk to him about where we're going tonight," or something. I can't remember what it was for. But, and meanwhile, he's got a bucket of ice water in the shower ready for me. But I got my suit on already, so I took my suit off, and I went over and put Shoney's suit on. And then as I peeked around the corner and then jumped out to see what he needed, the bucket was on its way already. And then I think Shoney noticed just as the water was halfway there that it was his suit that I had on. So I think he ended up leaving in a sweatsuit that night.
I went out naked that night, yeah. It was a big night in the city.
So Donnie tipped me off that he had a bucket of ice water there, and we turned it around on him.
Good job, Smitty. I owe you.
The worst thing that Rob's ever done to a hockey player, and I would think that I'm the recipient of it.
Oh, Hartford.
And why not? You know, we're here to celebrate 40 years for Buffalo.
Gordy Donnelly and I.
Gord Donnelly and Rob Ray, my fighting partners through that season. We're going to initiate the rookie. I love chocolate. I scraped the bottom of the plate. I licked the plate if I could. I love chocolate so much. Rob and Gord went to the variety store and bought a bar of X-Lax. And they shaved the X-Lax on my coconut.
We were in Hartford. We had a team dinner.
On my coconut cream pie, and I couldn't believe how much chocolate was on my plate. I loved it. And I licked every part of that plate. And needless to say, we played an afternoon game the next day. I fell asleep between the periods. John Lucker was going to send me to Rochester in a rant, and Patty LaFontaine actually went to bat for me and actually went into his office and said, "Listen, you can't send that kid down. This is why he doesn't feel."
And then he called us in, gave us trouble. We sat for like 3 games, never got dressed.
Are you kidding me? I didn't get off
Because
the
this
toilet
little
for 4
boy,
days, so you know,
this little boy we picked
I'd
up.
rather you sit in the locker room.
I've been here for 20 years, and this is the first time I've heard the story.
It's awful.
Serious?
It's awful. Awful.
Oh.
We used to ride together a lot to practice, and if Shoney thought it would take 31 minutes and 12 seconds to get to the rink, that's when we'd leave at 31. If the wind was going the right way, we got there on time. But he was in a position where it didn't matter. I was in a position at that time where I couldn't be late for practice. But somehow it worked, but he didn't care.
Yeah, we actually drove so much together. We developed our own language, which was we called Shildney, which was speaking English phonetically backwards. So we could be in a crowd and we could carry on this conversation. It was actually quite rude, but we could say whatever we wanted about whoever we wanted, and no one knew it. So we'd be laughing like imbeciles, and most people scratching their head at what we were saying. But we got pretty proficient at
All
it.
trying to figure it out, though.
Oh yeah, yes. Rick Dudley thought he had it. He was quite proud when he figured it out, and Tony McKegney, he used to like to try to figure it too. But yeah, they're just the goofy things guys do.
One example or one story, and I think people did know about it at the time, but it was just a great example of our youth and our love for one another, and was during that cup run. Myself, Curtis Brown, Wayne Primo, Jason Woolley, and Eric Rasmussen, we play PlayStation in the hotel room all the time, even at home, because we stayed at the hotel the night before the games, and we play Xbox. We order grilled cheese sandwiches and banana splits and spend hours and hours playing video games. So I laughed when I was watching Chicago Blackhawks and they're talking about them playing video games. They robbed our idea, and that's why they were successful. Unfortunately, we were 1 win short, 2 wins short that year. But I think it's just a great sign when you can see guys kind of put the egos and the pride aside and say, we're kids and we love what we're doing, and we don't care what anybody thinks about it. And that was basically what we were all about.
When you leave the game, there's 2 things you miss. You miss being on the ice and hanging out and laughing with the guys.
But everybody took it in the right vein. It was always just ended up in a big laugh, and that's what I say. The great memories of just being with the guys. It always ended up with no one had their feelings hurt. We got a good laugh, and then you moved on to the next time.
That was a lot of fun.